Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to today's Sword of Convallaria video. So yesterday I posted the CN tier list for the August edition, updated by some of the players in the CN side, and I saw a lot of people asking for Nungal guides. So in today's video, I'm going to do a Nungal character review, right, with my own knowledge as well as research, and recommend the best skill builds, recommend the best equipments, as well as talk about the final review of the character. So before we jump into all those different stuff, let's start with her trait analysis. So right here, I have 5 main pointers once you unlock her trait to 5 stars. So on 5 stars, she get a crit boost as well as a damage conversion from physical to magical. So this is something to take note of. You want to put her in a magical centric team if you want to apply a bunch of debuffs on the enemy to benefit Nungal's maximum DPS. So secondly, right, the longer distance she's attacking from, right, the more damage she get based on the second light. So for each 1 tile between her and the target, right, damage increased by 5%, so up to 45%, so upwards to, let's say, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so upwards to 8 tiles, because there's this distance from adjacent tiles counts as 0. Oh wait, so you 9 tiles away, so that's where she gets a maximum damage output. This is at 5 star, so you don't actually get this at the... You actually get this at the base level, but you don't get the crit at base level based on the analysis on the left hand side. So this is something to maximize the DPS. You need to get this to the 4 star for the maximum 45% boost. So next, right, the next line, if Nungal does not move before attacking, increases maximum range by 1 tile. So if she does not move, she gets more range, which allows her to snipe more easily and get more damage. So this is where she benefits from her sniping potential with regards to the normal attack build in terms of the skill side. So that's for the third line, and then for the fourth line, the last line, further solidifies her sniper role with a bunch of negation if she's attacking the enemies from far enough tiles. So this is like this 5-star ability that you unlock once you get her skill to 5 stars. So it is quite a late game thing, and I think in general, if you're somebody who's like a free-to-play or low budget looking to get Nungal to 3-star, will be your topmost priority, because that's where you get that 15% crit boost and upwards to 40% damage boost from the distance differences. So the last line comes at the 5th star, so it's good, but it's not a must-have to get good numbers on her. So generally, her peak damage output should be at 4 stars, but if you're somebody who just want to like min-max in terms of her star levels, 3-star would be sufficient with that 15% crit boost and that 40% damage increase from the distance differences. So that's for the trait analysis. And next, let's move on to the skills recommendation. So for Nungal, based on my research so far, there's actually 2 different ways to build her. Number 1, you go for the ultimate centric build. This is why I'll be indicating this with the bracket ultimate centric. And then there's another one, which is the normal attack build or normal attack burst, which is bracketed by the normal attack burst. So for the ultimate build, basically you're relying a lot on the ultimate ability, deadly aim, which ignores block and deals massive percentage damage on the enemy, and you want to go towards the path that actually amplifies this skill's effect, for example with quick reload, to cut down on the preparation time, because this skill, if you don't have this buff, you actually have to charge up 1 turn, but if you have the rank 11 buff itself, it's an insta ultimate 160% damage boost. So that way you're able to recover your energy as well, which means that this skill is relatively spammable once it's off cooldown. So this is the ultimate centric path. For the normal attack buff, very straightforward. This is actually the more beginner friendly build. All you gotta do is find a safe position, find a high land, and then try to snipe your enemy from that far position, and this build amplifies the damage output for your normal attack. So you guys will see later on. So let's start with the rank 1 skill. If you're going the ultimate side, you're going to go for Dharana, which increases crit, which allows you to reposition and use your ultimate and get boosted damage with the crit boost from the skill itself. Alternatively, if you're going for the normal attack build, you're going for full draw, because this allows you to increase your basic attack damage by 30%. Pretty massive there, even though you can't recover your energy, but it doesn't affect you, because when you're using a normal attack, you are not consuming energy, so there's no need for you to actually worry too much about your energy management, unless you are using like other like item skills on Nungal to get even more damage, for example like the devil skill from the devil trinket itself. So that's for the normal attack build. And then we have the third skill, R3, which is one of her core skill path, where you get the ultimate daily aim. So this is where you get her ultimate attack. This is the skill that you build around in terms of Nungal's ultimate centric build. Then we have aim, which gives you the sniping stance as well as moving stance. So this gives you the mobility as well as the additional range when you're in the sniper mode to do more damage, to synergize with the trait itself for more damage from that, because the further distance you're able to snipe, the more damage you are able to do. So that's for the aim side. So this is normal attack buff. And then for rank 5 right here, ultimate centric, we are going for sniper's intuition. So this allows you to get movement 2, which gives you the ability to reposition better and get more damage, range damage, reduction in terms of the damage itself, although there's an increased CD. But when you have the skill right here, quick reload, right, this allows you to reduce your skill CD. So the ultimate side is more skill intensive, therefore you need to plan more, and that's why it's a tougher build to master, because due to the changes in like terrains, due to the changes in map conditions, or even the tower conquest conditions, she might have to sort of use her skills preemptively to keep herself safe. So that's one thing which I think the ultimate centric path will be tougher to master, whereas if you go for the normal attack path, you get the highland advantage, which basically allows you to reduce damage if the enemies are attacking you from the low ground, right? This means you want to keep her on the high ground, snipe the enemy, and when she's on the high ground itself, she gets quite a big 30% damage reduction, which increases her survivability. So that's for the normal attack burst. And for the recommended rank 7 path is definitely sense of purpose, because the boost that it provides, right, crit as well as crit damage and recover energy when she lands a crit, which is pretty high chance because of the crit damage boost. And with the hangman mark itself, you actually get a debuff on the enemy. So this sense of purpose is something that increases her DPS a lot, but you need to put her in the hangman team, or at least with another unit that's able to apply this hangman mark debuff so that she can do maximum DPS. So if you don't have that condition, shattered arrow might be a good choice, because generally just ignoring target's defense allows her to naturally do more damage. But rank 7 path, sense of purpose, is recommended between the two different builds itself. So next we go into the rank 9 skill, ultimate centric marking bullet, and for the normal attack burst is the highland advantage. I mean, not highland advantage, oops, sorry. I didn't change out the thing. So this is rank 9. So for this one, it's fatal attack. Okay, so basically, right, this is the basic attack difference between the two builds. So for marking bullet, you are dealing less damage, but you're applying more debuffs because you get the hangman mark. So this debuff allows you to synergize with the sense of purpose on her own, so she can basic attack and then use the ultimate for maximum DPS when she's alone in the team without other hangman units. And right, if you go for the fatal attack, that's where you get a higher attack percentages with increased crit damage. So when you combine that with this additional crit damage and crit buff, as well as this 30% damage buff from the full draw ability, this is where you guys can see the basic attack stacking up in terms of damage output. So that's why there's a difference in terms of how you want to use her. So for the marking bullet, it's more like you apply the debuff yourself and then you just go in and do a lot of massive damage. But for fatal attack, in order for you to achieve maximum damage, you will need another unit with the ability to apply this mark over here. So that's for the rank 9 skill. And then lastly, this is rank 11. So this is where the quick reload allows you to use your skills much more efficiently with the skill cooldown reduction as well as the energy support. On top of that, your ultimate do not need to prepare for 1 turn. So it's instantly 160% damage boost, which ignores blocked. So very, very powerful skill there. And then for the rank 11, you're going for Eagle Eye. So this allows you to increase the basic attack range, which increases your damage output, right, from your trait, because the longer range you do, right, the longer range you are able to keep between you and your enemy, the more damage you are able to do. So this way, this is the normal attack side, this is the ultimate side as recommended. Okay, so this is all the different skills recommendation for the two different builds. So choose them based on your personal preference as well as how you would like to place this unit. So this is the skill recommendation. Next, let's move on to the equipment side. So equipment side, I do not have the equipments at 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. So I'll be using the CN numbers to show you guys the different values. So the recommended weapon is longbow of Marthas as well as meteor line. So both increases physical attack, which is translated into magical damage later on. And for the longbow, you actually get a debuff, which is a damage increase. For meteor line, you get a random level 1 debuff, which could be an attack debuff or even a defense debuff for more damage as well. So this is for the 2 different bows that you can use. And for the trinket, there's actually this free trinket that we all get from the Voyager Memento, which is the True Lenses. So this one increases damage as well as crit boost when you're attacking on high land, which is one thing you want to do with the basic attack build Nungal. So this is the recommended one. As for the Terra Whispers, I personally think that this tree is insanely good on her, right? Verdict of Justice just gives you straight up 15% crit, so more damage for the normal attack build, as well as just more crit for your ultimate as well. And then we have the Rays of the Sun, which is one thing that you can definitely use when you are actually able to surround the enemy and get them down to the injured state. Ignoring 20% defense is pretty massive. So lastly, Temptation of the Devil is if you're able to kill your enemies and start getting stacks, this will be a pretty good, I'll say, like a whisper in a long drawn out fight. Not that good in bosses because you don't actually get stacks because you can't defeat the boss anyway. So if you're fighting against the bosses, I think Verdict of Justice as well as Rays of the Sun would be more recommended. But if you're able to actually abuse this devil stacking potential from Temptation of the Devil, this is actually a good build for general content sake, in terms of, like, for example, like your normal PvE contents, your Tower Conquest, or even your like different maps where there's multiple enemies to get the buffs from. Okay, so that's for the Nungal weapon review. Take a quick screenshot, just take a look at the pictures, know what weapons you want to farm for, and that's pretty much it for the recommended weapons itself. So now let's move on to the final review. Make it quick because people complain that my videos are too long. So this final review for Nungal okay, so just a little bit of whining there because I said, Zeeb, your video is too long, put some timestamp, then don't make video more than 30 minutes. It's like, okay, I'm reading your comments. Okay, so final review part. Nungal is more of a late game centric character because, as you guys can see from her skills itself, she gets a lot of synergy with the later parts of her skills, and she gets a lot more build up in terms of her damage with the later skills as well. So this is where, as you unlock the higher ranking skill, you get the better DPS out of her. And there's actually 2 different builds like I mentioned earlier. So if you're somebody who just wants to be simple, you just want to, like, okay, find a location, snipe the enemy, do maximum damage, then the normal attack build is the way to go. If you want more like flashy gameplay, repositioning, abusing different mechanics, spamming of skills, then the ultimate centric build is the way that you want to build her. So there's 2 different builds, which is, I think, very flexible. You can even use your Castilla on her to actually, get like multiple different builds for different situations. Next, right, depending on the tier list rating on the CN server itself, her longevity is quite okay in terms of the meta sense of things. I think she's probably going to stay relevant for quite a bit. Obviously not the strongest tier of units even moving forward, but generally really versatile in terms of like her positioning as well as her damage output, like always on the T1 even in the later CN tier list itself. So pretty good in terms of her meta building. And right, if you kind of want to maximize her ability, you generally want to pair her with another unit that is able to debuff with the Hangman debuff itself, because if you're going for the normal attack build, right, you can get more damage of the sense of purpose if you have another unit that can apply the Hangman mark. So if you're able to use the ultimate build to apply the Hangman mark yourself, that's where you don't need another unit, but the normal attack build gets more if you can actually put another unit with this debuff ability. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And in general, I think her damage output is pretty bonkers because there's a bunch of crit damage stack, there's a bunch of crit stack, as well as a bunch of bypassing blocks, as well as negation from the traits, as well as the ultimate itself. So a pretty good unit for the DPS component with decent meta longevity. So definitely a unit that you want to build if you are into, girls with guns, as well as the ability to become a magical attacker because of the trait ability itself. That's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Just a quick guide for her so that you guys won't complain my videos are too long. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.